All right, let's dive right in. Today, we're going to tear apart one of the most talked about earnings reports in a long time. Palantir just dropped a set of numbers their own CEO is calling once in a generation. So, what's really going on behind all the hype? Let's get into it, and we'll start with a few key numbers that just jump right off the page.
First up, 94%. So what is this? Well, in the software world, there's this benchmark called the Rule of 40. It's pretty simple. You add a company's growth rate to its profit margin. If the number's over 40, you're considered healthy and strong. Palantir just hit 94. I mean, that is just almost unheard of. It tells you this is a company that's not only growing at a wild speed, but is also massively profitable while doing it.
And that incredible combo of profit and growth pushed them right past a huge milestone. For the very first time, Palantir brought in over $1 billion in revenue in just one quarter. And this isn't just some symbolic number. It signals that they've reached a completely new level of scale and power in the market.
So, what's fueling this fire? Get this, a staggering 93% year-over-year growth in their U.S. commercial business. This right here is the heart of the story. It's the proof that their big bet to expand beyond their government roots isn't just working, it's paying off in an absolutely massive way.
And you can bet the company itself knows how crazy these results are. Their CEO, Alex Karp, basically said, look, I know these numbers are bombastic. He's not trying to downplay it. He's leaning in, pretty much telling the world that something fundamental has shifted in their business.
Which, of course, brings us to the real question. A 94% Rule of 40 score, $1 billion quarter, 93% growth in a key segment. How in the world did they pull this off? Well, it's not just one thing. It's this perfect storm of strategy, some really unique tech, and just perfect market timing.
Okay, so the first part of the answer is found right here in the United States. But what's fascinating is that it's a tale of two different stories happening at the same time. You have their classic government work, and then you have this exploding commercial business.
And you can see that breakdown so clearly here. I mean, yeah, the 93% from the commercial side is the headline grabber, but look at their government business. 53% growth is just incredible for a company that's already so established in that space. This isn't one engine carrying the whole company. It's two powerful engines, both firing on all cylinders.
And if you need some perspective on that government growth, just look at this number, $10 billion. That's the potential value of a new 10-year deal Palantir just signed with the U.S. Army. And what's really telling is that this one single deal rolls up 75 separate contracts they already had. It just shows you how deeply their software is being woven into the very fabric of the defense infrastructure.
So what's the common thread here? What's the technology that's creating this kind of demand in both corporate boardrooms and, military command centers? Well, if you ask Palantir, it all comes down to one core concept they call an ontology.
But before we get to their solution, let's talk about the problem they say they're solving. Their chief revenue officer has this great quote where he says that large language models, the tech behind things like ChatGPT, are basically unreliable by themselves. He calls them a jagged intelligence that can make catastrophic errors when you try to use them for really important, high-stakes work.
And this is Palantir's answer, the ontology. Now, it's not another AI model. Think of it more like a foundational layer that sits underneath the AI. It's like building a perfect digital twin of your entire organization, all its data, all its operations, all its processes, and weaving it all together. This framework gives the AI the context it needs to be not just smart, but actually reliable and useful in the real world. And this all leads to their central and, let's be honest, incredibly bold claim. They're basically saying that for all their power, large language models are effectively useless for serious business unless you have a foundational layer like their ontology connecting them to reality. It's a seriously provocative way to position themselves in the market.
Okay, so that's the big idea. But does this ontology-driven AI actually work? Is it delivering for customers? Because the proof, as they say, isn't in the code, it's in the results.
Just take a look at Citibank. They have this really complex security process called Know Your Customer. It used to take them 9 days to complete a check. With Palantir software, it now takes seconds. That's not just a little bit better, that is a fundamental transformation of a core business process.
And it's not a one-off. Fannie Mae is using the platform to catch mortgage fraud in seconds, a process that used to take months. The auto supplier Lear Corp has already rolled out over 175 different apps to thousands of its employees. And get this, one healthcare company was so blown away after a one-week trial, a boot camp, that they signed an $88 million deal a month later.
This quote from Nebraska Medicine just perfectly captures what Palantir is selling. They literally made up a new unit of measurement, a Palantir unit of time, to describe getting real value out of the software in less than an hour. That's the promise of the ontology in action. It's not just powerful technology. It's technology you can use to solve problems, like right now.
So for this last part, let's zoom out. Because to understand Palantir, you have to understand that these incredible numbers aren't just about business. For them, it's all part of a much bigger, deeply philosophical, and frankly, unapologetically pro-American vision.
On their earnings call, CEO Alex Karp laid the company's worldview out very plainly. We're just reporting what he said here. He stated a belief that the West is superior and that Palantir's entire mission is to provide an unfair advantage to America and its allies through technology. They see themselves as arming an American AI revolution, giving our industry and government the tools to dominate on the world stage. That's their stated philosophy.
And they tie this huge geopolitical vision all the way down to the individual worker. As Karp puts it, the mission is to arm the working class with AI. The big idea here is that they're not trying to replace people, they're trying to give superpowers to frontline workers, the nurse, the technician on the factory floor, the administrator, to make them better at their jobs.
And that leaves us with this final massive question. Palantir is telling this incredibly compelling and, provocative story that they aren't just selling software, they are leading an American AI revolution, one that's built on their unique technology and this very powerful specific worldview. So the question for all of us watching this space is, are we seeing the blueprint for the future of all enterprise software? Or is this just a crazy, lightning in a bottle, once-in-a-generation story that only Palantir can tell?